The massive Zephyrian ship appeared like a dark storm cloud against the red glow of Mars. Dr. Maya Chen pressed her face to the viewing window of the human medical station, watching as the alien vessel slowly moved closer. She had never seen a Zephyrian warship before. The black metal surface seemed to absorb all light, making it look like a hole in space itself. "They're requesting emergency docking," said Tom, the station's communication officer. His voice carried worry. "The Zephyrians never ask for help from anyone." Maya nodded, her mind already racing. The Zephyrians were known throughout the galaxy as the strongest warriors. Their bodies were built for battle, with muscles like steel cables and bones harder than most metals. They stood nearly 8 feet tall and could crush rock with their bare hands. For them to seek human medical help meant something terrible had happened. "Grant them permission," said Dr. Ross, the chief medical officer, "and prepare Emergency Bay 3 for immediate treatment." 20 minutes later, Maya watched through the medical bay's reinforced glass as 6 Zephyrian warriors carried a stretcher into the station. Even in the low gravity of the medical bay, their heavy footsteps shook the floor. Each warrior wore dark armor that seemed to drink in the bright medical lights. On the stretcher lay another Zephyrian, but something was clearly wrong. The figure was completely motionless, as rigid as a statue. Maya could see the warrior's eyes moving frantically back and forth, but nothing else moved, not even a finger. The lead Zephyrian removed his helmet, revealing a scarred face with golden eyes that seemed to burn with inner fire. "I am General Crone of the 3rd Battle Fleet," he said in heavily accented English. "This is Commander Vera, our greatest warrior. She cannot move. She cannot speak, but she is alive and aware." Dr. Ross stepped forward carefully. "What happened to her?" 3 days ago, our fleet encountered an ancient weapon left behind by the old ones," Crone explained. His massive hands clenched into fists. "The weapon fired some kind of energy beam. Everyone it touched became like this, frozen, trapped in their own bodies." Maya moved closer to examine the patient. Commander Vera was clearly female, though built like all Zephyrians with incredible muscle mass. Her skin had a slight blue tint and intricate tattoos covered her arms and face. But what struck Maya most were her eyes. They held intelligence, frustration, and something that looked almost like fear. "How many of your people are affected?" Dr. Ross asked. 47 warriors across 3 ships, Crone replied. "Our medical teams have tried everything. Nothing works. The condition seems to be spreading through their nervous systems." Maya knelt beside the stretcher and carefully observed Vera's vital signs on her scanner. "Her brain activity is completely normal," she said. "Heart rate, breathing, everything looks healthy. It's as if her muscles have simply forgotten how to obey her brain." "Our doctor said the same thing," Crone growled. "Can you help her or not?" "We have less than 2 days before the High Command orders us to destroy the planet where we found the weapon. They believe it might be some kind of trap or test by our enemies." Dr. Ross looked shocked. "Destroy an entire planet? The weapon is too dangerous to leave intact," Crone said simply. "But if we attack, it will start a war with the coalition of free worlds. Millions will die." Maya felt the weight of that responsibility settle on her shoulders. She looked down at Vera again and noticed something strange. When she held her scanner close to the Zephyrian skin, the readings changed slightly. It was just a small fluctuation, but it was there. "I need to run some tests," Maya said. "Can you give us 12 hours? Crone's golden eyes studied her for a long moment. "You have 12 hours, human. But if you cannot help Commander Vera, we leave, and the High Command will make their decision about the weapon." After the Zephyrians left the medical bay, Maya and her team got to work. They ran every scan they could think of. Blood tests, brain scans, nerve conductivity studies, muscle biopsies. Everything came back normal except for one thing. "Look at this," said Dr. James, the station's neurologist. He pointed to a complex readout on his screen. "There's some kind of interference pattern in her nervous system. It's like static on an old radio, but in her nerves." Maya studied the data. "The pattern is very specific. It's not random static. It's almost like a signal that's blocking her natural nerve impulses." "But how do we disrupt it?" asked Dr. Sarah, their biochemist. "We've tried every drug we can think of. Neural stimulants, muscle relaxants, even experimental treatments. Nothing works." Maya walked back to Vera's bedside. The Zephyrian's eyes tracked her movement, clearly showing that she was fully aware of everything happening around her. Maya felt a surge of sympathy for what the warrior must be going through. "I'm sorry this is happening to you," Maya said softly, even though she wasn't sure if Vera could understand English. "We're going to figure this out." On impulse, Maya reached out and gently touched Vera's forehead. The skin felt warm and slightly rough like leather that had been polished smooth. For just a moment, Maya thought she felt something, a tiny flutter as if the muscles under her hand had tried to move. She pulled back and checked her scanner. The neural interference pattern had changed slightly during those few seconds of contact. Not much, but it was definitely different. "James, come look at this," Maya called. "I think I found something." Dr. James hurried over with his equipment. "What happened?"
When I touched her forehead, the interference pattern shifted, Maya explained.
"Run a scan while I make contact again." Maya placed her hand gently on Vera's arm this time. The scanner immediately showed changes in the neural static. The pattern was still there, but it was weaker, less organized. "That's impossible," James muttered, staring at his readings. "How can simple physical contact affect a neural interference pattern?" Maya thought about it. What if it's not the contact itself, but something about human bioelectricity? Every living thing generates electrical fields. Maybe human electrical patterns are somehow different from other species. They spent the next 6 hours testing the theory. They tried electrical stimulation with their medical equipment, but it had no effect. They even asked one of the station's alien medical consultants, an insect like Kantari, to touch Vera. Nothing happened. But every time a human touched the paralyzed warrior, the interference pattern weakened slightly. It has to be something specific about human nervous systems, Maya concluded as she reviewed their data. But I don't understand what. General Crone returned to the medical bay exactly 12 hours after he had left. His face was grim as he looked at Maya. "Do you have answers, human doctor?" Maya took a deep breath. "We've made progress, but we need more time. Human touch seems to disrupt whatever is causing the paralysis, but we don't know why or how to make it permanent." "Human touch?" Crone looked skeptical. "That sounds like superstition, not medicine." "I can prove it," Maya said. She moved to Vera's side and placed both hands on the warrior's shoulders. "Watch your commander's eyes." For several seconds, nothing happened. Then slowly, Vera's eyes began to move in a different pattern. Instead of the frantic back-and-forth motion, they moved up and down. Once, then twice. Crone stepped closer, his golden eyes wide with surprise. "She's trying to communicate." "That pattern means yes in our language." Maya maintained contact for another minute, then stepped back. Immediately, Vera's eyes returned to their previous frantic movement. "How is this possible?" Crone demanded. "We're still figuring that out," Maya admitted. "But we think human bioelectricity creates some kind of interference with the weapon's effect. The problem is that the improvement only lasts as long as we maintain physical contact." Crone was quiet for a long moment, clearly thinking. How long would it take to develop a permanent treatment? "I don't know," Maya said honestly. "Maybe days, maybe weeks. We need to understand exactly how the weapon works and why human contact disrupts it." "We don't have weeks," Crone said. "The High Command has already started preparing the attack fleet. They want to destroy the weapon before it can be used against more of our people." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. "If they attack now, it will start a galactic war." "Yes," Crone said simply. "Unless you can cure Commander Vera and prove that a permanent solution exists. How much time do we have?" Crone checked a device on his wrist. 36 hours. After that, the attack begins." Maya looked down at Vera, whose eyes seemed to plead for help. Then she looked at her medical team, who were all watching her with expressions of determination mixed with fear. "Then we'd better get to work," Maya said. As Crone left the medical bay, Maya gathered her team around Vera's bed. "We need to understand everything about this interference pattern," she said. "Sarah, I want you to analyze the exact frequency of the neural static. James, map every nerve pathway that's being affected. Tom, contact every human medical facility in the system. I want data on human bioelectricity compared to other species." "What are you thinking?" Dr. Ross asked. Maya placed her hand on Vera's forehead again, watching as the warrior's eyes immediately became more focused and alert. "I'm thinking that humans evolved something that no other species has. Something that makes us unique in the galaxy. And right now that difference might be the key to preventing a war." As her team scattered to begin their research, Maya remained beside Vera's bed. She kept one hand in gentle contact with the paralyzed warrior, watching as the neural interference pattern continued to weaken under her touch. "We're going to figure this out," she whispered. "I promise." In Vera's eyes, she saw what looked like hope. But Maya also knew that 36 hours was not very much time to solve a mystery that had stumped the most advanced alien medical technology in the galaxy. As she watched the clock on the wall tick away precious minutes, she wondered if human determination and compassion would be enough to prevent a catastrophic war. Outside the medical station, Mars hung like a red jewel against the darkness of space, and somewhere in that darkness an alien weapon waited, holding the fate of the galaxy in its ancient, mysterious power. The next 35 hours would determine everything. Maya had not slept in 24 hours. Her eyes burned from staring at medical readouts, but she could not stop. Every minute that passed brought them closer to galactic war. Around her, the medical bay hummed with activity as her team worked frantically to unlock the mystery of human touch. Dr. Sarah burst through the doors carrying a tablet full of data. "Maya, I found something important," she said, her voice thick with exhaustion. "The neural interference pattern isn't random. It's actually a very specific frequency that matches Zephyrian brain waves perfectly." Maya looked up from where she sat beside Vera's bed. She had kept one hand on the warrior's arm for the past 6 hours, providing continuous relief from the paralysis. "What does that mean?" "The weapon was designed specifically to target Zephyrian nervous systems," Sarah explained. "It creates a feedback loop that amplifies their own neural signals until they become too strong for their muscles to process. It's like turning up the volume on a radio until you can't understand the words anymore." Dr. James entered the bay carrying his own stack of research. "I have more pieces of the puzzle," he said. "I've been comparing human bioelectricity to 17 different alien species. Humans are completely unique in one very specific way." Maya felt her heart race. "How?" "Every other species we tested has very focused, direct neural pathways," James explained. "Their brains send strong, clear signals to their muscles. It's efficient and powerful, but humans are different. Our neural signals are much weaker, but they're also more complex. We send dozens of tiny signals instead of one strong one." Maya thought about this, like the difference between a hammer and a paintbrush. "Exactly," James said. "Other species evolved for strength and efficiency. Humans evolved for precision and adaptability. That's why we're so good with tools and fine motor control." Sarah nodded excitedly. "And that's why human touch disrupts the weapon's effect. Our weak, complex bioelectric field creates interference that breaks up the feedback loop. It's like static that jambles a radio signal." Maya looked down at Vera, whose eyes were alert and focused thanks to the continuous human contact. "So we can disrupt the pattern, but how do we make it permanent?" "That's what we need to figure out in the next 11 hours, Dr. Ross said as he joined the group. "General Crone just sent word that the attack fleet is already moving toward the weapon's location." Maya stood up, carefully maintaining contact with Vera. "We need to try sustained treatment. If human touch can weaken the interference pattern, maybe prolonged contact can eliminate it completely. That would mean multiple humans maintaining contact for hours," James said. "Do we have enough people?" "I've already contacted the civilian section of the station," Dr. Ross replied. 37 humans have volunteered to help. Engineers, teachers, cooks, maintenance workers. Everyone wants to prevent this war. Maya felt a surge of pride in her species. "Then let's organize them into teams. We'll need to maintain contact with Vera for extended periods while monitoring her neural patterns." Over the next 2 hours, Maya's team developed a treatment protocol. They positioned 6 humans around Vera's bed, each person maintaining gentle contact with different parts of her body. Hands on her arms, shoulders, forehead, and legs created a network of human bioelectric interference. The results were immediate and dramatic. Within 30 minutes of sustained contact, the neural interference pattern began to break down significantly. Vera's eyes showed less frantic movement and her vital signs became more stable. "It's working," Sarah whispered, watching her monitors. "The feedback loop is destabilizing." But Maya noticed something else. As the hours passed, the humans providing treatment seemed to naturally coordinate their touch. Without being told, they began moving their hands in slow rhythmic patterns. It looked almost like a gentle massage, but Maya realized it was something deeper. "James, are you seeing this?" she asked, pointing to the neural readouts. "The humans aren't just creating random interference. They're somehow synchronizing with Vera's natural brain rhythms." James studied the data with amazement. "You're right. It's like they're teaching her nervous system how to function normally again. How is that possible?" Maya thought about human evolution, about how her species had survived by caring for each other. "Maybe it's instinct," she said. Humans have always been healers. When we see someone in pain, we naturally want to help. Maybe our bodies know how to provide comfort even when our minds don't understand the science. Dr. Ross was monitoring communications from the outside. The Zephyrian fleet is 6 hours away from the weapon's location, he reported. And General Crone is demanding an update. Maya looked at the treatment team. The 6 humans had been maintaining contact for 4 hours, and they looked tired but determined. "How is everyone feeling?" she asked. "We can keep going," said Maria, one of the station's teachers. "This is too important to stop." The others nodded in agreement. Maya felt another surge of pride. These people were not doctors or scientists. They were ordinary humans who had volunteered to help prevent a war by providing simple human kindness. "Let's continue for 2 more hours," Maya decided. "If the pattern keeps breaking down at this rate, we might achieve complete recovery." As the treatment continued, something remarkable began to happen. Vera's neural interference pattern was not just weakening. It was actually being replaced by something that looked almost like normal human brain activity. The humans providing treatment were somehow teaching her nervous system to function in a new way. "This is incredible," James said, staring at his monitors. "It's like her brain is learning to adapt to human neural patterns. The rigid Zephyrian approach is being replaced by flexible human-style processing." Maya suddenly understood what was happening. The weapon was designed to target the Zephyrian way of thinking. Strong, direct, and flexible, but human thought is adaptive and complex. By maintaining contact, we're not just disrupting the weapon's effect. We're teaching Vera's brain how to think like a human. 2 hours later, something amazing happened. Maya was adjusting her hand position when she felt Vera's arm move slightly under her touch. It was just a tiny flexing of muscles, but it was voluntary movement. "Did everyone see that?" Maya asked excitedly. "Her neural patterns are almost completely normal now," Sarah reported. "The interference is down to less than 5% of original levels." Maya looked into Vera's eyes and saw awareness there that was different from before. The frantic quality was gone, replaced by calm intelligence. "Vera, if you can understand me, try to move your fingers." Slowly, carefully, Vera's fingers began to move, first just twitching, then actual controlled movement. The humans maintaining contact continued their gentle touch, providing support as the warrior's nervous system remembered how to function. Over the next hour, movement returned to Vera's entire body. First her arms, then her legs, and finally her ability to speak. The first word she said was in her own language, but the second was in English. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice rough from days of silence. Maya felt tears in her eyes. "How do you feel?" Vera slowly sat up with help from the treatment team. "Different," she said thoughtfully. "My body feels the same, but my mind feels more flexible. Like I can think in new ways." General Crone arrived just as Vera was taking her first steps around the medical bay. The massive Zephyrian warrior stopped in the doorway, his golden eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander Vera," he said in their own language. Vera turned to face her superior and spoke in Zephyrian for several minutes. Maya could not understand the words, but she could hear the change in Vera's voice. It was still strong and confident, but there was something softer about it, more nuanced. Crone listened intently, then turned to Maya. "She tells me that the humans did not just cure her body. They changed how her mind works. She says she can now think with both Zephyrian strength and human flexibility." Maya nodded. "The treatment seems to have created a hybrid neural pattern. She retains all her Zephyrian physical abilities, but her thought processes now include human adaptability." "This is unprecedented," Crone said. "In our entire history, no Zephyrian has ever been able to change their fundamental thinking patterns. We are what we are from birth to death." Vera spoke again in English, her words careful but clear. "I can feel possibilities that I never felt before. Problems that seemed impossible now have many potential solutions." "Is this how humans always think?" Maya smiled. "More or less. We're good at finding different ways to approach challenges." Crone activated his communication device and spoke rapidly in Zephyrian. Maya could not understand the words, but his tone was urgent and excited. After several minutes, he closed the device and turned back to the humans. "I have convinced the High Command to delay the attack," he said. "But they want proof that this treatment can be replicated. There are still 46 warriors suffering from the weapon's effects." Maya looked at her exhausted team. They had proven that the treatment worked, but applying it to dozens of patients would require far more human volunteers and much more time. "How long can you delay the attack?" she asked. Perhaps 1 week, Crone replied. But the High Command grows impatient. They fear the weapon will be used against us again. Dr. Ross stepped forward. We'll need to contact every human facility in the solar system. Medical stations, research outposts, even civilian colonies. If we can gather enough volunteers, we might be able to treat all the affected warriors. Maya nodded, but she was thinking about something bigger. General Crone, what if this treatment could be applied to healthy Zephyrians as well? What if your people could gain human-style thinking without losing their physical strength? Crone looked shocked by the suggestion. That would change our entire civilization. We have been the same for thousands of years. But would it be better? Vera asked quietly. I feel stronger now, not weaker. My body is the same, but my mind can do things it never could before. Over the next few days, Maya's treatment protocol was shared throughout human space. Hundreds of volunteers came forward to help treat the paralyzed Zephyrian warriors. Medical stations, research facilities, and even passenger ships altered their routes to provide assistance. The treatment was successful in every case. Each Zephyrian warrior who recovered showed the same hybrid neural patterns that Vera had developed. They retained their incredible physical abilities while gaining human-style cognitive flexibility. But the most remarkable change was not medical. It was cultural. The recovered Zephyrian warriors began to question many of their society's rigid traditions. They developed new approaches to problem-solving, new forms of art and music, and new ways of interacting with other species. Commander Vera became an ambassador, helping to establish the first peaceful diplomatic relationships between Zephyrians and dozens of other alien civilizations. The ancient weapon was eventually studied and deactivated safely, but its legacy was far more positive than anyone had expected. The forced cooperation between humans and Zephyrians led to cultural exchange programs, joint scientific research, and military alliances that strengthened both species. Maya often reflected on how the crisis had revealed something fundamental about humanity. While other species had evolved for specific strengths, humans had developed something far more valuable: the ability to adapt, to show compassion, and to help others change and grow. The galaxy was a safer place because humans had learned to heal not just with medicine, but with simple kindness and the gentle power of caring touch. Vera visited the medical station often, bringing other Zephyrians who wanted to experience the treatment voluntarily. She had become living proof that strength and gentleness could coexist, that rigid thinking could be softened without being weakened. You did not just save my life, she told Maya during one visit. You gave my people a future we never knew was possible. Maya smiled as she watched Vera work patiently with a group of young Zephyrian cadets, teaching them human problem-solving techniques. The sight of the massive alien warrior gently guiding her students would have been impossible to imagine just months before. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not through conquest or superior technology, but through the simple act of reaching out to help someone in need. In the end, that was perhaps the most human thing of all.